Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our service today at the Unitarian Congregation of Mendon and Uxbridge in Massachusetts. Today is October the 18th, 2020. My name is Bill Vieira, and I am a member of the board of our congregation. It is an honor for me to be here today and participate in the service with you. It's such a beautiful time of year, and it's such a special occasion and a special day for us. Today, we are going to welcome our new minister, the Reverend Patricia Hatch. Reverend Patricia has a Master of Divinity degree from Boston University. She is very passionate about ministry. She has served a variety of different congregations and a variety of different roles. And she has served as a UU community minister, specializing in preaching and rites of passage services. It is truly an honor and, for me, a personal blessing to welcome her to our congregation today. Welcome, Patricia Hatch.
Mendon and Uxbridge. Whether this is your first time visiting, or whether you've been here for decades, or somewhere in between, or for most of you who are viewing from your home screens, welcome to all of you. Welcome to those who are seeking connection or inspiration. Welcome to those who are curious, those who are ready for worship, and those who are a bit discombobulated. May this service provide something your heart needs today, and some inspiration you can pass on. May your burdens be lightened and your joys even brighter. May you have your feet firmly on the ground to do your work with balance and grace. And may your heart know hope, like birds soaring in the sky. We join together on this mid-October day when the colors are radiant and the temperatures are dropping. Welcome to you all, whether your heart is singing or grieving or a little bit of both. Welcome. We will now have the chalice lighting.
As we join together, we kindle a flame in a chalice, a shared cup, a flame, the symbol of the eternal, the symbol of truth and knowledge. Come we now out of the darkness of our unknowing and the dusk of our dreaming. Come we now from far places. Come we now into the twilight of our awakening and the reflection of our gathering. Come we all now together. We bring unilluminated our dark caves of doubting. We seek unbedazzled the clear light of understanding. May the sparks of our joining kindle our resolve, brighten our spirits, reflect our love, and unshadow our days. Come we now, enter the dawning. Please join me in the affirmation of our church. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant. to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We light candles of joy and concerns, sharing and expressing our joys, our sorrows, our hopes, and our dreams. If you wish us to light a candle for you, please send in your joys and concerns. You can do so in the YouTube chat, or you can also send them to us via the email link on our church webpage. Recently, even this morning, I've been having encounters with mice. The weather is starting to get cool, and our friends of the forest are stockpiling their reserves for the winter months, and they're looking for places to stay warm. Recently, I met a little mouse in my workshop, and we have 4 cats. So I was very concerned for my newfound friend, and I named him Herman. And my wife suggested that maybe perhaps Herman wouldn't want to live in the house this winter with 4 cats. So I made a little house for him out of a plastic coffee can and cut a hole in the lid, and then I put it out in my shed with some sawdust in it and a little bit of food. I haven't seen Herman since then, but when I do put out food for him, it seems to be gone the next day. So I wish Herman well. And then this morning, I went over to my closet to take out this suit. I haven't had the opportunity to wear a suit in a while, and I was very excited about wearing my suit. And then when I put it on this morning, I looked down, and on each pants leg there's a little hole that it looks like a mouse has been chewing on the fabric. And well, I hope that mouse, whoever you were, is using my fabric from my pants in a very positive way, and hopefully it'll keep you warm in the wintertime. One of my favorite stories is about a mouse and his encounter with a crow. There was once a crow who was very hungry. Flying over the tops of trees, it spotted a large, tasty-looking walnut growing from one of the tallest branches below. Seeing the makings of a fine supper, the crow swooped down and plucked the dangling walnut and held it triumphantly in its beak. The crow flapped its wings happily and began to think about how best to break open the shell of the walnut. Meanwhile, on the ground below the crow, an equally hungry mouse saw everything that had happened and decided that it wanted some of the walnut for itself. With a plan that was clever, though not particularly nice, the mouse caught up to the crow high in the trees. "Say there, friend, what's that you have in your beak?" The crow, who was hungry enough by now that it wasn't thinking at all of its decisions, called back, "I've found a very nice walnut, and I am going to eat it." When the crow opened its mouth to say all that, the walnut fell out and dropped to the ground, just as the mouse hoped it would. But the mouse didn't count on where the walnut would land and fall. It hit the ground and rolled into a shallow hole. The mouse ran to the hole and reached in to pull out the walnut so that it could crack the shell and eat it. but the hole was just small enough that the mouse could not pull it out. With both its paws wrapped around, the walnut was too wide to get back up out of the hole. The crow, meanwhile, was unhappy at having been tricked out of its supper and began to shout at the mouse down below, who couldn't leave because it was still holding on to the walnut, trying and failing to pull it back out of the hole in the ground. Now, if the two of them had worked together, they both might have gotten to enjoy some of that walnut. The crow could have pecked its sharp beak down into the hole and broken up the walnut into smaller pieces. Then the mouse could have reached in and picked each piece out one at a time. But instead, the two of them were stuck there, arguing with each other, and both still hungry. The mouse, because it couldn't let go, and the crow, because it couldn't hold on. This is a reading from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. As we think and reflect and meditate upon these words, Matt will now play for us the song Turn, 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 made famous by the musical group The Byrds.
Thank you, Bill.
The beauty of change. What a beautiful time of year it is here in New England. If you ask someone what is their favorite season, some would say that it's spring. Spring is the time for new growth, new possibilities. The daylight hours grow longer, and the hues of greens and yellows return to the landscape. Robins return to their nests and serenade us with their sweet melodies. The temperatures are warmer as we emerge from our cocoons of the darkness of winter. We begin to prepare the earth for the next growing season. We plant our seeds, nurturing each one with a prayer for a fruitful harvest. Spring is a lovely time of year. Very few people say that summer is their favorite anymore. With the scientific evidence that global warming is real, it's just too hot and too humid during the summer now. Summer forcefully isolates us into environmentally protected bubbles of air conditioning. Fewer still refer to winter as their favorite season. Winter is dark, dreary, and cold. There are fewer hours of sunlight, and some of us begin to suffer from seasonal affective disorder. We become sad, depressed, morose, and ill. If you ask most people in New England which is their favorite season, they will most likely reply that it is fall. No other season speaks of change and the beauty of change as the season of autumn. A myriad of colors parade before us. Nature sits as a yogi in meditation, opening up chakras of dazzling colors. Vibrant red, yellow, orange, and green leaves leave us breathless as they adorn the oaks and maples standing against the brilliant blue skies. The yogi ponders, reflecting on the resplendent colors and the nature and beauty of change. Change is inevitable and inexorable. The very nature of the universe is one of constant and relentless transition from one thing to another. Progress is measured by resilience, acceptance, and adaptation to this universal truth. We are powerless over change, just as we are powerless in preventing the transition of winter into spring, spring from turning into summer, and summer into autumn. When we resist change, we suffer. We begin to resent what is to become and wish that things remain unchanged. We want our comfort and we want our security. We desire what is familiar. We want the old ways, the way things used to be. We muse and we reminisce about the good old days when we were young and full of aspirations, surrounded by loving family, festive celebrations, and good health. We try to repress or prevent change, but to no avail. We are powerless over change, just as we are powerless over nature. The dreams of our youth mature into the realities of our existence. One season progresses into the next, and the years turn into decades. We are confronted with our own mortality and the mortality of those in our lives whom we cherish the most. We begin to mourn our own passing while there is still life left to live. The beauty of change is embracing the reality of change, just as we embrace the beauty of autumn. In the autumn, we prepare for the next season of growth. We plant our seeds, but these seeds are of a different character. We plant soul seeds. Nearly 200 years ago, a small congregation planted their soul seeds here, and they built this church. Their soul seeds were the belief that each person, regardless of their race, has the same inherent dignity and worth. They believed that the oppression and slavery of others was morally and ethically reprehensible. They held their belief despite the common perspective that slavery was not wrong. At that time, their seeds fell on immature soil, but in time, their seeds germinated and grew into a beautiful garden of flowers in all colors. Now, nearly 200 years later, our small congregation is planting our soul seeds here in the same place where those intrepid souls planted theirs. We say goodbye to our beloved Reverend Ralph Clark, who served our congregation in humility for the last 17 years. We will miss him. We will miss his humor, his compassion, his kindness, and his wisdom. We found comfort and meaning in his ministry. His service to our community has been a blessing. We extend to him our gratitude for everything he did for us. We wish him all the best of health and happiness in his much-deserved retirement. And for those who may come after us, may we work together in the spirit of love while tending to our garden. May our seeds be watered and our seedlings nurtured by that first principle of Unitarianism, that promise made and held true by our ancestors 200 years ago. The recognition of the inherent dignity and equality of all people. May the seeds we plant today become the garden upon which those souls 200 years from now will plant their seeds. Change is inevitable and inexorable. The very nature of the universe is one of constant and relentless transition from one thing to another. Progress is measured by resilience, acceptance, and adaptation to this universal truth. The beauty of change is embracing change as new opportunities, new possibilities to be good gardeners of our soul seeds. What a beautiful time it is here in New England during this beautiful season of change. What a beautiful time it is here in our church. Welcome to our congregation, to our family, Reverend Patricia Hatch. Welcome.
Thank you, Bill. This will be We May Never Pass This Way Again.
those burdens and those joys in our lives. First, we have a couple from Peter Kaufman, a candle of thanks and respect for the memory of Helen Condon, from whose estate we received a generous gift. For Helen, with thanks and respect. And Peter also writes a candle of joy for the birth of his first child, Rebecca, 24 years ago today. A candle for Rebecca. And Chris and Bill Vieira write a candle of joy for Patricia to welcome her and wish her success in her ministry here. Thank you. And also a candle of joy and a warm welcome to Reverend Patricia Hatch, to our congregation and community from the Bouchard family. Thank you, Ken, Sonia, family. And also from Ken Bouchard, a candle of love and joy for his mother's 70th birthday today. So happy birthday to Ken's mother and to Rebecca. We light the final candle for those things that remain unspoken in our hearts and minds, acknowledging them in this community, lifting up our hearts. Amen. I'm thinking of adding a new element to the service, and that is a section to thank parishioners for the things they do. I've already come to understand that there are a lot of dedicated volunteers that work behind the scenes, and let us all recognize them. So if you think of anyone you'd like me to thank in the service, please let me know. I will only mention people by their first names. Also, if you definitely do not want to be thanked in the service, please tell me that as well. The danger in doing this is the list will always be incomplete, as I cannot thank every volunteer every week. But for this week, I would like to thank Marilla, Bear, and Dwayne for all their tech help. They do a lot behind the scenes. And I really want to thank Dave, L, and Peter for being my welcoming committee on my first day on Friday and helping me get oriented to the congregation. Finally, for the service, thank you, Ken, for filming, and Matt for the beautiful music. And I especially want to thank Bill for preaching the sermon and co-leading worship with me today and being so welcoming. Really appreciate it. We will now extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but we carry with us the warmth of community, the light that comes from seeking knowledge, and the flame of passionate commitment. These we carry with us. After I give the benediction, Matt will play the postlude, and that will be Ode to Joy from Beethoven. And I hope you all join us next week. So please come back. We'd love to see your faces, the few that are here, or your comments from most of you. If you comment on the screen so we know you're here. And I believe Ken is going to put up a link for the donation website. If you were able to give to this congregation, that would be greatly appreciated. But most of all, we hope for your participation and your love. And in that spirit,